The restaurant glowed with golden chandeliers, laughter, and the clinking of crystal glasses. The scent of expensive wine lingered in the air, but in one quiet corner of that opulent place sat a young woman staring down at her trembling hands, her heart sinking deeper with every second. Her name was Elena. She wore a simple blue dress, its edges slightly frayed, and in her purse, only $5. She wasn't supposed to be here. Not among the glittering suits, silk gowns, and diamond smiles. But her best friend had convinced her to try a blind date. "You never know, Lena, maybe he'll see the real you," she'd said. And so, despite her insecurities, Elena had come, hoping, just maybe, someone would look past her job title, maid. At the same moment, across the restaurant, a tall man in a sleek charcoal suit entered with calm confidence. Ethan Raymond, the youngest billionaire in the city, known for his sharp mind, colder heart, and eyes that missed nothing. Yet tonight, his attention was drawn not by business associates or investors, but by a quiet, nervous girl sitting alone near the window, clutching her purse like a lifeline that he recognized her instantly, Elena. His maid. The one who quietly dusted his mansion at dawn, who never complained, even when her hands were raw from scrubbing. The one who always smiled when she greeted him, even though he could tell she was exhausted. Ethan frowned. What was she doing here? He was about to walk past, but then a sharp laugh sliced through the air. A young man, dressed in a designer suit, stood near Elena's table. "Wait, you're my blind date?" he scoffed, loud enough for the nearby tables to hear. "You must be kidding. Did they pick you up from the cleaning staff outside?" A few people chuckled. Elena's cheeks burned crimson. She tried to explain softly, I'm sorry. My friend arranged this." "I didn't know," the man interrupted, his voice dripping with disdain. "You show up to a high-end restaurant with, what? A thrift store dress? Look, sweetheart, this place costs more than your month's salary. Don't embarrass yourself." Elena's eyes glistened, but she forced a trembling smile. "I just wanted to meet someone kind. That's all." The man rolled his eyes. "Kind? Maybe you should have aimed for realistic." He turned to the waiter. "She won't be staying long. Get her some water, tap, not bottled." The laughter around her stung more than words ever could. She wanted to disappear. That's when a deep voice echoed from behind. "Cancel that order," Ethan said firmly, stepping into the light. "And bring your finest champagne instead. The ladies with me." The room went silent. All eyes turned. The arrogant man blinked in disbelief. "Wait, Mr. Raymond? You know her?" Ethan's jaw tightened. "She works for me. And she's more decent than anyone sitting here judging her." He turned to Elena, his expression softening. "May I?" Still in shock, she nodded faintly. Ethan pulled out the chair beside her and sat, completely unbothered by the stares. "Sir, she began, voice shaking, but he interrupted gently, "Ethan. Tonight, I'm not your boss. I'm your friend. Let's eat." The waiter rushed back, flustered, as whispers spread like wildfire. The billionaire dining with his maid? Impossible, but Ethan didn't care. He ordered the best dishes, chatted with her as if she were royalty, and made her laugh until her tears dried. Slowly, the humiliation faded, replaced by something she hadn't felt in years, respect. When the waiter handed the bill discreetly, Elena's fingers brushed her purse. "Sir, I only have $5. "I can't," Ethan smiled. "Then that $5 will be our lucky charm. You can keep it. I'll handle the rest." She tried to protest, but he shook his head. "Do you know what I saw tonight? A woman who showed up with courage, even when the world wanted to tear her down. That's worth more than any amount of money." Her eyes filled again, this time with gratitude. "Why are you being so kind to me?" she whispered. "Because I've been surrounded by people who pretend to be perfect," Ethan said quietly, "and you're one of the few who's real." The night ended with applause, not because of him, but because of her. A few of the restaurant's guests, ashamed of their earlier laughter, even stood as she walked out beside him, but the story didn't end there. The next morning, social media exploded. Someone had recorded the entire scene. Billionaire defends maid on blind date. The video went viral. People were moved by the way Ethan stood up for her, but what truly melted hearts was the way he looked at her, as if she was worth everything, even without riches. At first, Elena was mortified by the attention. She wanted to hide. But Ethan wouldn't let her. Instead, he brought her to his company, not as a maid, but as an assistant in his philanthropy department. "You've cleaned enough floors," he said. "Now help me clean lives." Elena worked hard, dedicating herself to helping other struggling women find jobs, dignity, and self-worth. Each success story reminded her of the night that changed her life, the night someone finally saw her for who she truly was. Months later, Ethan invited her to dinner again. Same restaurant. Same table, but this time, when he sat across from her, he didn't see his maid. He saw a confident woman with dreams shining in her eyes. "I have to ask," he said with a playful smile, "do you still only have $5? She laughed softly, the sound warm and full of life. "No," she said, "I have more than I ever dreamed of." Ethan leaned closer. "Good. Because I was hoping you'd let me take you on another date. A real one this time." Her eyes sparkled. "You mean?" He nodded. "No bosses. No titles. Just us." For the first time, Elena didn't feel small. She didn't feel out of place, because she had learned something powerful that night. The world will judge you for what you lack, but the right person will see the wealth within you. And as they clinked glasses under the same golden lights that once witnessed her humiliation, she realized something else too. Sometimes, the most unbelievable miracles begin with just $5, and a little bit of courage. "You studied it?" "Yes," she said, switching back to English. "And French, Spanish, Italian, Arabic, Japanese, Portuguese, and Swahili." He stared, speechless, "and English, of course," she added lightly. No one said a word. The entire restaurant hung in stunned silence. He leaned forward slowly. "Why are you working here then? Someone like you could be anything." "I am something," she said gently. "My mother's daughter. She taught me never to let anyone else define my worth. This job, it's part of my journey, not my destination." He looked down at the table, humbled. When he spoke again, his tone was quieter. "You've got guts. I respect that." The rest of the dinner was uneventful. He spoke politely now, even said please and thank you. When he left, he nodded to her, no arrogance, no pride, just quiet respect. Hours later, as she cleaned the tables, she found a folded piece of paper under a dessert plate. Inside was a check for $100,000. Beneath it, a note written in Chinese. "You taught me the meaning of humility. Thank you." Her hands trembled. Tears filled her eyes, not for the money, but for what it meant. The next morning, the restaurant buzzed. Someone had posted the video. The caption read, "Millionaire mocks black waitress, instantly regrets it." It spread like wildfire. Millions watched Tiana's calm strength dismantle arrogance in real time. Comments poured in, admiration, pride, inspiration. She was invited to interviews, offered scholarships, praised by universities and language institutes, but she still showed up to work. Still served tables. Still helped new hires find their rhythm. When her manager said she didn't have to anymore, she smiled and said, "Not yet. There are people watching. Girls who think they're not enough. I want them to see this, to know they don't have to shout to be powerful. They just have to be excellent." 2 years later, she stood on stage at an international linguistics conference, speaking in 9 languages, her voice smooth and confident. The audience rose to their feet, applauding. Afterward, an older man approached her quietly. "Do you remember me?" It was Richard Holman. His suit was still expensive, but the arrogance was gone. "I wanted to thank you," he said softly. "You didn't just teach me a lesson. You changed how I see people. I started a foundation to fund scholarships for multilingual students from poor backgrounds. I named it the Tiana Initiative." Her eyes welled up. "You didn't have to, I did," he said. "You showed me what grace looks like." They shook hands. He walked away quietly, and she watched him disappear into the crowd. She turned back to the stage, the lights reflecting in her eyes like stars. She had been tested, mocked, underestimated, but she had answered in languages the world couldn't ignore. She didn't need to prove her worth. She spoke it fluently, in strength, dignity, and unshakable self-respect. The night at Maison Rouge became a legend, retold millions of times. But for Tiana, it was never about fame. It was about something purer, something timeless. The world had tried to measure her value in money, skin, and status. She answered in grace, and that night, in a restaurant meant for the rich, a waitress taught everyone what true wealth really sounded like.